GCUE.
The podcast you have been waiting for.
6 friends, 6 opinions, infinite laughs.
You're watching history in the making.
You don't have to open up your eyes, you can clearly see.
The #1 podcast is GCUE. 20 years of brotherhood. The Q La Familia. Raw, uncut, uncensored, and unfiltered. Bubs opinionated. Why Eddie keep you laughing? Steve will get the tea while Shot tells us all what's happening. Spiritual or natural. I'm here for the thrills. And when it comes to PJ, y'all, please say the real. From quick hits, heavy lifting, dumbass to the week. We getting ratings through the roof every time that we speak. PA, GA to the Aspens, turning podcasts into under-table has-been. Sports, entertainment, and current events. Sometimes we get pissed, so the crew got a vent. So when Friday night come, you know just what to do. Sit back, put up your feet, and now rocking with the Q. What's really good, people? You are here with the one and only GQ podcast. That's GCUE, not to be affiliated with the magazine or the company. It's your boy Boogs, straight out the 804. And as you can see, them there with 3. We want to send shouts out to the real PJ, Steve and Eddie, who not with us right now, but I'm going to go around and introduce the usual suspects that I'm here with at the moment. Let's go, Bub. Set it off.
What's up, everybody? If it's your first time with us, we welcome you. If it's not your first time, we welcome you back. Either way, sit back, lay back, and enjoy the show.
And we're going to take it down to Mr. ATL, Swab Magazine himself, Shot. Let's get it popping.
Yo, I'm not enjoying the A right now. It was 80 degrees 4 days ago, and now it's like 50, and I don't know what to do anymore. So I'm like juggling between T-shirts and sweatpants and sweating and air conditioning. It's fucking ridiculous.
Like VA the same way right about now.
Well, we obviously can see this that same way in VA because this nigga just don't have no outfit on. So.
Well, you know, I said I get a little preview of what, you know what I mean? Just let me stop. It's all good. It's raining down here. We all right though.
A beater and sunglasses in the crib. Go for it.
Let's do it.
So you know what I mean, we've been having like our text conversations, everything, with all things going on in the world of black men. So how y'all feeling about, you know what I mean, black male life? Like, y'all, is it stressful? Is it complicated?
I think the longer you go through some things, the more you become adapted to certain things. But I also feel that there's a line that you can, it's not even a line. It's like a way that you go about things without compromising who you are and what you stand for, your beliefs or your causes and things of that nature. Because some of the things that people before us, our ancestors, relatives that came before us, you know, some of those things have changed to a certain extent. Now, to say things are extinct, no, you're not going to say that. Has it gotten better? Yeah, because through the generations, you know, the further the generations go down, the further and further some of the generations tend to stray away from what they were taught as children. You know what I mean? So, but it's still around, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you just got to, as a black man, you know what you face. But what I will say this also, as a black man, I don't put everybody in that category. I like to take everyone as they are. I don't like to stereotype by groups or cliques or this. And I see that's a lot going on. Like, you know, we used to make this, like, anybody ever made the statement, white people make me sick. When you only had a discrepancy against the one at the Wawa down the street. You know what I mean? But now all of a sudden it's all, or because you got cut off by a Mexican, I can't stand these illegals and these Mexicans and this, that, and the third. Things like that. You know what I mean? But it comes back this way. And I feel we catch it a lot more, but it is what it is. But that's my say. That's my say.
I mean,
take it as it comes, adapts and maneuver.
I mean, I would be remiss to act like though like things haven't shifted. Like, but when I say shifted, I mean like it's still there, just disguised in a different way. Because they'll let you say like, oh no, black men are on the, you see them, they're doing well. Like, nah, there's still a struggle for us. And I think we do have it harder than anyone else because though like divorce is at an all-time high for everyone, it doesn't matter. They always depict it like America's problems are bigger in the black community. No, like everybody has, like there's single homes everywhere. You know what I mean? There's drug addictions everywhere, but they target us because of the significance of what we mean to like what we should be. Meaning like we, and this, I don't want to sound like, we are that shit. You know what I mean? So you gotta take a shot at the threat at all times. Back to like the Chris Rock joke, like the white men were going hysterical off of the fact of like in their mind they were telling themselves like, oh, they're overthrowing us, but it was still just white people. You know what I mean? So it's like they'll tell you some bullshit just to make you feel like, oh yeah, this is right. But in all honesty, no, it's not the truth. Like we are the main threat, and they always steal everything from us, anything that we develop. And if they know that we have strong homes and have a, and pour into our kids and our families the right way, we're super dominant, and that's the true fear. That's why they push so many things about like our repercussions and like the ramifications of like us being on drugs and different things like that. So I feel like there's a lot of pressure now. There's not any more like there's normal pressure as a man, period. That you're supposed to provide for your family, be a protector for certain people, and things like that. But for the black man itself, we're still having Tyree Nichols. We're still having, these different things going on. And they build a lot of these causes off the back of our stress, black people. So don't get it. And I think that they try to tend to make it seem like, oh, well, no, just stop the hate. Like, no, can we just get our due first? Our due. Like, can we start acknowledging that, black men are under attack? Like, stop lying and stop acting like, everybody's hating, but like, we are solely at all times under attack. So I think there's a lot of pressure, and I think there's a lot being a black man. And there's but there's nothing like it. You know what I mean? Because if you had the normal path, we would have mad CEOs, mad, like expressive people, and it's just, you have to think about so many different things that it causes distraction. So I love it.
What's crazy is like being down here, there's a lot of black people that are doing like really successful things. Like there's a lot of black people running businesses, like high executives in businesses, to the point where they don't necessarily see the same racism that I can see, because I'm used to looking at like institutionalized racism. So it's like, because they're successful, they're like, nah, it's not that bad. And I'm like, you still don't see how far you're blocked out of that top tier. So it's like, because a couple people are making it, you start thinking that, you know what I mean? Well, we did this, so y'all can do this too. That floodgate's not open. So it's like it's a crack in the dam, but it ain't a floodgate. So we're going to let a couple of y'all in here to keep it quiet.
Yes, sir.
Like a couple of y'all can come, but all y'all can't come in here, because if you balance out the system and say, we want to make sure everybody gets what they need just from the starting point, like Atlanta will go crazy. But there's a blockage from the successful black people down here and the unsuccessful black people down here. And then when you get to the successful people, they start looking down on the unsuccessful people. And it's like, well, you know what I mean? Y'all ain't shit down on that side of town. I don't go down there. I ain't supporting y'all's little stores. I ain't coming to y'all restaurants. It's hood down there. It's ghetto. I ain't fucking with y'all. And that becomes a mentality. And we start like shooting each other down, not necessarily violently, but just mentally. To the point where like we start beating on each other.
I have a question. I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't want to interrupt you. I know you were on the roll. But that was my question. We all consider Atlanta to be, and I was going to get on this. Yes, sir. Respect, King. Respect. But what I was saying, we all expect Atlanta to be the black Mecca, as we like to call it. And in that black Mecca, my question, like I asked my cousins, well, so-and-so sometimes. Do you support each other? That's where most of the black business if I'm not mistaken, owners are. And like black
Yeah.
business down here is thriving. Like I look at I don't know if she's from Atlanta, but I don't know if Slutty Vegan came from there.
Yes.
But them
She's
products
down
and
here.
all of those things, do y'all support each other? Is there a big support? Like, do you come together and just boost one another?
So here's the thing, you know what I mean? And Pinky, from my understanding, is cool people. I haven't met her yet. I have interviews and stuff that has been like set up with her. We haven't had a chance to connect. I did go to her launch when she had it here. She had like a launch party when she opened up her second restaurant.
Sure.
Here's the thing. People in Atlanta shit on successful people in Atlanta. So you'll shit on the fact that she has a restaurant. I'm like, I ain't eating that nasty shit. Ain't never had it. Don't know what a vegan burger tastes like. But it's just the fact that it's hers, you're not going to do it. Now, if the shit opens up in Lenox Mall and it's bar vegan, owned by some white people, somebody threw it on Instagram and said, oh, this is the spot to go to for brunch on Sunday, now you're going to be there. But you're not going to go to her restaurant and support her. Then it comes out and like, oh, well, she got a nasty attitude. You ain't never met the girl. How you know she got a nasty attitude? Niggas got mad. She started paying off people's loans, and she was giving. She gave. I want to say Clark Atlanta's graduating class. She gave them all, or she paid for all of them to have LLCs. Now, do I think that was the best idea? No, but that's what she felt like was something that she could do for them. And by doing that, she gets shit on. It's nuts. But that's the mentality. Like we'll support businesses that everyone makes popular instead of making our own shit pop. If we went to the Morehouse area and made sure like all the restaurants over there and all the lounges over there and all the clothing stores over there were popping, then they would have the money. Instead, we go to, Gucci. And I ain't knocking nobody. You wear Gucci, that's your business. But you can support some other dudes that are doing the same thing. It's a horrible cycle.
But let me ask you this: so with that mentality, is that because we have like the lack of black men in place that lead to be leaders? Because like you said, this is the I am black man conversation. So like you said, is it because she's a woman? Like sometimes, like not sometimes.
Nah, but even that, like even with her being a woman, like her husband has the Dave's cheesesteaks, Bulls from Philly. Like they had that set up.
I just heard about them the other day.
Shaka Zulu, that was Ludacris's old manager. I'm not even sure if he's old or new manager, whatever. But Shaka Zulu is like her business partner. So there's a bunch of like powerful dudes around her. It's just we don't want. Oprah Winfrey said, people love success but hate successful people. The mindset is I don't want to keep giving you money so that you can be rich and have all these things that I don't have. And then you show me all these things that I don't have to my face, so why am I still supporting you?
That's true.
And that mindset is nuts. Like we don't want to see each other grow to that point where you have these things that I don't have. Even if it's simple support, like, a cheeseburger, $8. But I ain't gonna go buy the $8 cheeseburger from you. I'll go to Burger King. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as the black community, is that because of the lack of like men?
I don't even think
you know what I mean?
I don't think it's the lack of men. I think as men, I think as black men, we've lost that role of leadership in the community, and with that role, I think it's multiple things. I think honestly, black men are silenced the most. I think black men catch the most slack. So even like the "you ain't shit dad" comments, "your man ain't shit husband" comments, like you go to work and if you're not providing enough, then you ain't shit for that either. Like black men get the "you ain't shit" marker a lot in the comparison aspect because there's a lot of ego in black men. So the comparison aspect of you ain't got that LeBron money, you ain't got that Steph money, and you ain't got that rapper money. So now it's like you working your job, doing your thing, bringing your paycheck home, and it's like you still feeling like you're running short. So ego wise, a lot of dudes pull back, and it's like you don't want to deal with that responsibility. You start arguing over dumb shit in your relationship, and then you leave, and then it's like that separation starts. And most dudes, after you have that hard breakup, you don't go into another relationship like with sound mind. You start just picking and choosing and doing what you can when you can do it. I think it's the mentality for black men is just, it's shot. Like we don't get that same level of love and respect community wise and then relationship wise to make us feel like you're in that position of leadership, take control. It's the moment you fuck up, you ain't shit.
What you think? That was some good points. Mm-hmm. Do you think we feed into stereotypes with that, or do you just think that, like you said, we have so many worldly pressures? Again, like to Shad's point, where he says like it's such a running theme, and there's so many generations removed now where you hear it, where it's not, like you said, it's not as like it's not fresh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, his dad wasn't shit, so he ain't gonna be shit. So then, you know what I mean? Like, is it like feeding into the stereotype, or is it just the fact that you've been beat over the head with this logic for so long that you just succumb to it? What do you feel like that?
I'm gonna say, let me go back. I'm gonna use two words. I'm gonna say we know, and I'm gonna stick with those two words right now. We know. If you remember when we were younger, even before our time, people used to ask you, what you want to be when you grow up? You would get one or three, maybe four answers. Either one was an athlete, some form of athlete, basketball, football, baseball. Two would be maybe a police officer. And three would be like a doctor. And every now and then you may get a fireman or something like that. But it was the same answers in our neighborhoods, the same answers, because that's our mindset. And it's like that was passed down from the generations before us. Well, I could be an athlete. I could be this. It's safe to be this, or I could be this. You didn't hear nobody back in our day until later, and middle school, maybe high school, engineer, or I may want to be a veterinarian, or I may want to be a journalist, or I may want to be a politician, or I may want to be a astronaut. You see what I'm saying? We didn't hear those things back in the day. Now, my question to you and every other black man in America, we have blacks in law enforcement. We have blacks in Congress. We have blacks politicians. We have black athletes, of course, predominantly black athletes. But we have black astronauts. We have all these black things. Are we the same?
My thing is to
are
answer
we
your question,
the same?
I think like part of it, like at some of the time, like back then, I think now the advantage of social media is that you can see that there's more people in more fields, because there were black people that were successful back then, and you learn more now. Like my kids are fortunate enough to learn now. Like the lady who invented GPS was a black woman back in the 60s. Like, you know what I mean? But we never really learned it in school. But like there were people that accomplished a lot. But also it was specifically engineered for us to think that, oh, we can only be athletes, or we can do this. You know what I mean? But that's where you got to have sometimes the man in the house, I think, because fortunately for me, if you don't know, I was raised by a single father. So it was like he was an educator on top of it. So I think like the mentality was always presented to me and my sister is like, yo, y'all can be anything. Like I get it. Like blacks were always told that you can make good money by physical labor, but always remember there's a white collar person who pays all these physical labor people. So that's why the way we approach stuff, my sister and I specifically, was always based off my dad telling us like, there's somebody that pays the worker. That's what we want to shoot for. And I think like it gives you that extra sense of confidence as a child, like the protecting nature of it. I think it's, and like I said, I'm a father myself now. I have all my friends, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's just hard for us, like the mentality of just dealing with society
on an everyday basis.
Before you walk out the door, it's like, here's my day. You take that deep breath, you walk into the world. It doesn't matter what your credentialing is. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what you've done. It's just
That's why I stuck with them 2 words. We know.
Right.
We may have the same profession. We may get paid close to the same thing. We may wear the same uniform. We may be in the same business meetings. We may take the same business trips. We may come to the same family picnics. But I say we know because we know at the end of the day, we're still not the same.
I mean, the thing is, we learned about Ben Carson, right? Like, we learned about Ben Carson. And then the irony of it
don't lose your point, shot.
Is how disappointing he is to us as black people. You know what I mean? Like, he did something so great that when we were growing up, it was like, wow, like, yeah, we can be like Ben Carson, but yet he turned that way. Same thing with Clarence Thomas. Oh, okay, we had Thurgood Marshall. Oh, yeah. And we fought the Anita Hill thing because we're like, oh, no, he couldn't do that. They're trying to tear the black man down. But then he turned out to be that. So it's always a weird thing with us. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard being a black man because it's like we root for us. You watch a game show, it's a black family, watch Family Feud. Oh man, they better win. You know what I mean? Like, we're
hands down.
That's the mentality.
Hands down.
You know what I mean? So
that's
it's like
true.
We love us, but it's so hard because of so many societal pressures and stereotypes we got to fight against, or people that succumb to it. Because I don't think sometimes every person initially steps into it like that. They can step into it, but then like they don't know some of the game, and I think it makes people succumb sometimes. I just think it's a lot of pressure and things for us at times that we just don't know, and that's because of generational, not like nobody telling us. We had to figure it out the other way.
Yeah, I think what Boogs was saying, he's like, we know, like, you're not the same. It's not even knowing that you're not the same. You know that at any point, all of that can be snatched from you. And it doesn't have to be justified.
That's the we know. It's not the same. We know there's a difference overall. We know overall difference.
You're there, but you're not protected there. Like you don't have the same. No. You don't have the same levels there. So you can be an executive in a company, but you know if you piss the wrong person off, you can lose that job and go back down to where you was at. So it's like we're always playing this balancing act. I was telling my friend yesterday, when I go running, if I'm running in the neighborhood, I have to make sure that I'm aware of where everyone's at in these white neighborhoods. So if I run past you, I need to smile at you, like nod at you, say hello, wave a little bit so that you're not intimidated just by my presence. So my presence in your neighborhood running could make you say, I'm going to call the cops because I don't know him. And that looks scary to me. Like, Little Shad is a big, black, scary man to whatever white person that sees him. And I have to always be conscious of that, to where if I'm in public, I have to know when and how to raise my voice. I have to know when and how to be aggressive. If I'm upset, I can't necessarily display that because now I'm the angry black man who became dangerous the moment you said something. So you have to be aware of everything. Like if I bump the wrong person the wrong way, I have to be worried about it. Black, white, indifferent. It's constantly knowing and constantly being aware of where you're at and what you're doing and how you're being portrayed. I think that's like the pressure that you walk around with on a daily basis.
True.
Right.
Like
so with that, so like you describing that. And from what I was saying, and from what Boogs was saying, should we get a little bit more leeway and understanding because of our mental health? Because that is a hectic way to just have to live life all the time. You know what I mean? And I don't think anybody else gets.
No one else has to live like that, man.
At all.
No one else lives like this.
And I
don't even think it's
no.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't even think that it's like we have to do a mental check. I think we have to first acknowledge that that's how we live because we're acting like it's not real. And I think that's the part with us that it becomes like, that's just the everyday thing. You know, that's just, I mean, you black. That's how your life gonna be. You have to realize that shit's not right. And that's living in constant state of trauma. And you don't think about it that way. So it's like you have all these things and it's like you want to say, you know, black power this, black prowess that, black pride this, but it's like you're not addressing the underlining shit. Like you're walking
But is it
on
for us?
eggshells.
Yes, sir.
But the question is it for us or is it for others to acknowledge? Because we've had people explain, hey, it's mental health, and we don't get the benefit of it. Like like you said, as soon as a white kid shoots something, it's man, it's mental health. It was so hard for him. He got bullied in school. But like you said, for us, from birth, like black kids from the beginning, little black boys don't get the same leeway to be just a kid. So carrying that trauma
to be angry
and hold up, all the way to where we're at as men. When is society going to allow us, or will they ever allow us? And that's all I think is responsible for allowing us to release this pressure so we can start healing and getting in the right direction so people can stop attacking us. I think we're the most attacked being on this earth. I think
it takes us first to make society acknowledge that. Like we have to, like as a culture, we have to acknowledge like what this really is. That conversation has to happen publicly. Like this is what black men go through. What we end up doing is fighting battles in the reactive stage instead of saying proactively, this is what's wrong. This is what's going on. So we can say, that ain't right and what happened over there is not right. I mean, that happens. And you're trying to constantly like fight this uphill battle that way. If you start at the top of the hill and you say, yo, this is what this is like on a daily basis. This is what black men go through on a daily basis. These are these emotions. And I think for me personally, you befriend white people. And when you have these conversations with them, there's a different understanding. So it's like, I don't understand why black people always have issues with cops. And it's like, yo, that's because you don't know that feeling of, even though I did nothing wrong, I'm going to be presumed guilty if anything happens. So cops I could be doing absolutely nothing. The cop could drive past me on the highway and my heart still drops. Registration is right, insurance is right, license is right, not speeding, not doing anything. And I have to run all that through my mind. I see a cop look at the speedometer, making sure like I'm in the lane correctly, making sure I'm not swerving. I'm like super conscious of the fact that you're over there. So you're not trying to make eye contact. So you're like, you kind of like checking where they at while I'm not checking where they at. It's a conscious thing. And I think we constantly live in that state. So when you let other people know, like, this is what it's like on a daily basis. This is what you go through on a daily basis. At any point, everything that you have can be snatched from underneath of you, from making the right decision around the wrong person or the wrong decision around the right person.
You know why? Because we know.
Yeah, we know.
That's
but
real.
like, to your point,
Real talk, we know. But the thing of it is, and I want to address what you said though, until everyone around wakes up and realizes though. It's like we've been though.
It's just I
We've
think
been,
we
though.
do realize because like we have because our black woman is a hell of an advocate. Like she knows the mental stress.
Absolutely.
Again, because they carry a lot of this burden too. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and the thing is that, but I think they also have to look inside to say like, again, like just because my feelings are hurt with this relationship ending, like he's not a bad dude. I gotta have him in my son's life. We gotta start really mending these fences and start coming together to understand, because like these boys are coming up with such a lost sense of direction, and for whatever reason, we got old men who won't reach back to heal. We got young boys that are coming up that won't heal, they can't heal, because the understanding is we just keep running with these old narratives. But we do know that there are people like that we're under attack. And as long as we have the crab in the barrel mentality along with society fighting us, we're not going to succeed. But I think we know it. Like you said, Boogs, we do know it. That's the thing though. We do know that, yo, this is the thing. We know that we're the supreme being. Like that's how I feel. Like, you know what I mean? Like I get it. I got white friends, all that shit.
Nah, that's real.
I truly believe like we're the innovators of everything. And the reason that we were taking out the home is because of that. Because we survived, but at some point, your trauma don't just have to be survival. Your trauma should be, I mean, your story should be success. It shouldn't be about just the trauma you dealt with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you want to raise our kids like we're putting our kids in certain schools, but they still have to still we still had to tell them like, yo, you still black. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still black, son. It doesn't matter what you do.
And that's the crazy part, because you'll have people that'll say, if you just treated them like everyone else, that solves your problem. Like, if you don't acknowledge color, that solves the problem. And that's absolute bullshit, because now you're setting your child up for failure, because while you're not acknowledging race, everyone else in the world is. So it's a matter of acknowledge this, like, you're black, but you're not inferior. And I think that's the part where, like, it comes to the parenting of creating that mindset and that understanding with your child. Be like, yeah, I'm black, but you ain't no better than me because I'm black. And the world's going to tell you and show you through advertising, marketing, media, whatever, that you're beneath this other race, which is why there's 80% white shows on television. And then when you get to the black shows, it's typically reality TV or some hood shit. And that's how they create it. So you grow up, you know, I mean, go to a 90s thing. It's like you see Dawson's Creek, you want Dawson's Creek, Beverly Hills 90210, like, you want that kind of life. Like, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I'd be able to do that. And then you see, you know what I mean, Good Times, that kind of shit, and it's like, I don't want to live like that. And that becomes the mindset. You start saying what you don't want. And then when they start showing these successful black shows, they last for a little while. They took all that shit off TV. Like, all that's gone. Like, they in that Different World, Sister, All of Us,
Cosby,
One-on-One.
Cosby Show.
That's what I'm saying. Like, all those shows that started showing that successful era, like, that went away. And they said, oh, let's give them reality TV. Now everybody want to be a housewife or something. Now everybody want to go argue with somebody, throw a drink in a club.
That's
ridiculous.
But
It's
you
like
know what?
everything
go
is
ahead.
drama now. No, that's my, I hate reality.
Listen, I want to plug this to everybody listening. Everybody that may hear this, whether it's now, 2024, 2054, I don't care what year it is. Black King, and hear me closely. Black King, if you get any portion of power, whether it be entrepreneurship, whether you get left the business, whether you get left money, whether you get this, hold on to it and always know that you're in the spotlight. Whether you're an athlete, no matter what it is, once you get it, hold on to it wisely. And the reason I say that, because it's not just about the athletes that may have a scandal, or it's not the ones that may get caught out there and you think, oh, they're making all this money and they still doing dumb stuff. But this is what they see, and this is what's expected. It's the fact of, when you look down through the line, majority of the time, those of us that have had power have sabotaged ourselves. Let's call it what it is. Look at it, even BLM. Organization set up for them. I mean, made impacts, did this, that, and the third. But then once we found out what the money was being used for, I'm like, it's always got to be something to mess something up when it comes to us. But majority of the time, it's us.
Yeah.
Even some of these black churches and pastors, and they're using the church money, and they're buying mansions, and they're buying roses, and they're doing this. Not the money that's funded for that. Now, some got money set aside for that. If that's you, that's fine. But I'm talking about the ones that's spitefully using it. And then it comes out later, and it's like, oh, wow. Well, another black pastor did this. Another black entrepreneur did this. Another black group did this. This came out about this black man. This came out about this black woman. If you're not scratching enough backs, it don't matter what you do. You gonna fall.
But here's the thing.
So let me say this real quick.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead, Sean.
Don't forget neither one of y'all's points, though.
I'm gonna say, like, I think that that's always gonna be a part of our culture. And it's not even just our culture. I think that's every culture. You're always going to have some crabs in the culture. I think that we have to be more mindful of what we support. So it's like, you wouldn't have that thing if I wasn't supporting you. If I know your church is full of shit, I shouldn't be going there. And we have to be mindful, knowing like it's not dope that your pastor's driving a Bentley and all your congregation is struggling. Now, if that's his salary, that's his salary. If he got another job, he got another job. But if he's saying, yo, I need y'all to come to this pastor's benefit dinner, and now all the donations start at $2,000, and if you ain't got $2,000, don't come. That ain't your church. So it's like we know when some shit's wrong, and we know what we support that's wrong. I think it's just a matter of like what we support. I'm gonna hold that for that conversation for the next part of it.
I just think that we gotta stop overvaluing money and start embracing more of understanding. Understanding meaning just each other, because again, like to Boogs' earlier point, like we classify everybody under one umbrella, but there are differences between people. Learning how to embrace and understanding so we can grow together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, stop beating each other down just because there's differences. We definitely need to embrace these boys, let them know that, hey, there's times to cry, there's times not to cry. You can't always call him, like, if he falls and if he hurts, it's not always, man, don't be a punk and get up. Like, nah. And I get it. It comes from the mentality that was from our forefathers with good reasoning because of the circumstances they endured. But now is a different time that we can understand that, like, it's so much pressure that you can't allow yourself to just have your son be in the same mental space where it's causing you to have mental breakdowns, where you just need to take time out. And everyone needs times out from life sometimes. But we really have to start building our black boys up to be strong men. And there's a lot of men, here's the thing, and there are a lot of great men who do a lot of things and they don't get the recognition or the acknowledgement that's needed. For us, the thing is that, again, to Shad's point earlier, if you say, like you said, oh, this nigga don't got money, like what's the name? But yeah, but this man is making sure that these kids are fed. We had coaches who used to literally take kids to their house or drive the kids around because their parents didn't have, like, we got to start acknowledging these folks. And that's what we need to pour into, because these men are sincerely engaged with these children, and stop trying to worship people who, not saying that these people with these millions of dollars don't, you know what I mean? But they have a lifestyle that they have to take care of. But these people here who we have to start investing in ourselves instead of worrying about, like you said, Boogs, a pastor or somebody like that. If the pastor's not doing that, but Coach so-and-so is making sure he's picking up 9 boys, though he has to get off of work, off of his job with his family, and he's sacrificing time with his family. We have to start acknowledging and putting things in place to embrace those men in order to bring these kids up the right way. Because a lot of times, a lot of these boys just need someone to say it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, or just to give you a word here or there, it's okay. You know what I mean? Because even as a man, sometimes, like I said, I talked to my dad and he said, "Oh, it's all right." You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're right. It's just an exhale word. Like, it's okay. You know what? And I think that's where we get so caught up with this money idea and all these different types of things, because it doesn't matter where you live. Like we said, you can live here, I can live there. We still viewed the same way. We just got to come together and get rid of this whole trash mentality. And it's going to be pressure, and it's going to be pressure. It's going to be hard. It's not an easy task because, again, to Shad's point too, it's always going to be there, the crab in the barrel thing, where people are going to try. But that's just the nature of man. It doesn't matter what race you are. There's always some crabs in everything. But for us, particular, to get to where we need to get our black boys who can push through anything, have them start with a fresh slate and just invest with them.
I think that's the thing. I'm a like my last thing. I think is, like you said, it's the crab in the barrel kind of thing. But you got, for us, you got the crab in the barrel. You got somebody with the pot beside the barrel. You got somebody with a lid on top of the barrel. So it's like, once you pass one obstacle, you get to the top of the crab, somebody hit you with the lid, knock you back down. If you mix yourself outside of the barrel, there's somebody out there with tongues ready to throw you in the pot. It's like you constantly have these battles happening. My stepdad was amazing. One of the things that I truly appreciate, which made me actually gravitate towards him, I was pissed one day. I was like 13, mad as hell because I was on punishment. He was like, the world's not your enemy. The stuff that you're on punishment for because of things that you're doing. He's like, so if you're frustrated it's because of what you're placing yourself into that gets you into trouble that makes you have to be on punishment.
Accountability.
And I was like, that's what I'm saying. And no one ever made me look at it that way. So I started crying. He was like, it's all right to cry. He was like, go upstairs. He was like, cry, get yourself together, come back downstairs. Let's figure out a plan. And that's what I did. Went upstairs, bawled because I was pissed. I was mad because I was in trouble. Got up, came back downstairs. He was like, now this is what I need you to do. Do A, B, C. Like, keep the house clean, do these chores, make sure the trash is taken out, make sure your mom doesn't have to ask you for anything. I'll advocate for you on my side to talk to her to get you off of punishment early. And I'll say, he's doing good, whatever, what have you. I'll try to get you out of this trouble. Your response or your commitment back to me is to stop doing dumb shit. He's like, you stop doing dumb shit. Right. Stop doing dumb shit, and I'll always advocate for you. We ain't had a problem since. And like, until he passed, like, that was the coolest dude in my life. So I think that we need black men to do exactly what Bub is saying, like pour into young black kids to help the kids realize this is how life is going to happen. You're going to deal with these things, but this is how you have to start looking at it. Everything isn't the world fighting you. A lot of this shit is you beating yourself up. And we have to get past that. So we gotta have a part two of this.
With reason, like there's reasons you can beat yourself up because again, we carry a lot of baggage, but again, letting the world beat you up isn't gonna get you anywhere. You have to figure that shit out. And you have to put your good foot forward and find out the plan to get yourself out of all that shit.
Yeah, you 700 million people in the world. You're gonna get beat up by the world. Like, it's gonna happen.
Cover all of that in part 2 and maybe part 3 because we are black men. Loved ones, there's so many other places you could have been, but you decided to be here with us on the one and only GQ podcast. So you have a great week. Be happy, be safe, but most of all, be you. Q out.
Peace.